Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is about 1:30 here on this Tuesday. I'm meteorologist Christina Sanjuan, and we have a very active next 36 hours or so when it comes to our weather, with two different rounds of potential severe weather going to be pushing through the entire area here. So just for a moment, if anybody can tune in and give me a thumbs up if you can hear me before we get started. Of course, I want to walk you through the timing as well as the threats and impacts with everything that you can expect. So I just want to make sure that everybody can hear me okay before we get going, so I can bring you the latest data that we have going on. Hey, good afternoon, Kathy from Trimble County. Also, if you're watching, you want to tell me where you're watching from, maybe what the weather's like near you. I know we had that line of showers and storms push through. That was pretty loud, but honestly it had more bark than bite earlier this afternoon, as none of the storms were severe. And now we're starting to see the sunshine return. And while maybe we like the sunshine on a normal day, when we are facing storms later on this evening, it's not a good thing when we start to see the sun peek through, because that does kind of act as fuel for the storms. Okay, awesome. Thank you everybody for the thumbs up, and we will go ahead and get started. All right, so the bottom line, basically what you need to know over the next 2 days, or I'd say day and a half, is going to be that we are tracking the two rounds of potentially severe weather. First one going to be this evening. I'd say as we approach the sunset hour tonight after 7 o'clock, we will start to have some pop-up thunderstorms. Tonight's round is not going to be as widespread as what we're going to be facing tomorrow. Both days and both events do have the capability to pack quite a bit of a punch with the storms, but my main concern is going to be Wednesday. The timing there is from 3 o'clock to midnight, but both events, again, all modes of severe weather are on the table for us. So we're talking very strong to potentially damaging wind gusts, 70-mile-per-hour wind possible with any of the storms that get going. Of course, that can cause tree damage, bring down power lines, and you'll want to also secure any loose outdoor objects as well, unless you want them to end up, say, in your neighbor's yard or down the street. On top of the wind, we have a hail threat. Large hail, damaging hail, so golf ball size or larger, probably up to about 2 inches, which is the size of a lime or a hen egg. So if you have a garage, I'd highly recommend parking your car in the garage tonight as well as tomorrow. Tornadoes, that's also a threat. For tonight, I do think if we see a tornado, it'd be more isolated. It'd be more of a brief, weak spin up. But with Wednesday's system, we will have the capability of seeing a strong, potentially EF2 or even greater tornado possible. So we're talking long track, powerful tornadoes possible with Wednesday evening systems. So now is a really good time to go ahead and get that severe weather safety plan in place, whether that means planning with your family, your safe spot. If you have a basement, that's great. If not, just try to be in the most interior place in your house, away from windows and doors. It's best to plan ahead of time instead of waiting until a warning is issued, if one is in your location. Here's a look at the radar right now. We're quiet across our immediate neck of the woods here as that line of showers and storms that, again, was pretty loud, but more bark than bite, as well off to our east at this point. We just now got that severe thunderstorm warning just off to the east of Cincinnati, so thankfully it did stay below severe standards as it passed through here. Just kicked up our wind and brought some briefly heavy rainfall, but it's racing off to the east at this point. In fact, it's already past Lexington. That's moving about 55 miles per hour, so moving at a pretty good clip. And we're starting to see the sun peeking out here in Louisville, which also sounds like a lot of you folks that are tuning in here. I am trying to read your comments as we go along. I'm seeing a lot of you say that you're also seeing the sunshine. Again, not necessarily a good thing as we are facing the storm threat later on. I think we do have a couple more hours here of seeing a good mix of sunshine with the cloud cover, and that's going to go to work and warm us up into the middle 80s before the storms begin to push in. So on Futurecast here, you could see about 7, 8 o'clock. That's when we'll start to see those pop-up thunderstorms firing up off to the west of I-65. And you can see here, it's not widespread by any stretch of the imagination, and not everybody's going to be seeing these storms, but those that yet do need to have that severe weather safety plan in place because, again, these storms do have the potential to be dangerous. Here we are about 10 o'clock at night, kind of more of the same thing where the storms are just very spotty in nature. And as they move off to the east of the interstate, they'll start to try to multiply. But I do think they're going to try to also weaken as the evening continues and as they continue to push off to the east. But this is at midnight. So again, it does look like it's going to be a late night event for us and finally getting on out of here by 2 o'clock in the morning. So that was this evening system, and we are at a risk level 2 and 3. Risk level 3 covering Louisville metro area, all of southern Indiana, and stretching down to Nelson County as well as Hardin County. Folks from Litchfield and Grayson County stretching over to Greene, Taylor, and Adair counties still under a threat, albeit it's just not quite as high as what the rest of us are dealing with. Everybody, though, that being said, still will have the potential to see damaging wind, large hail, heavy rain, and a spin-up tornado. Let's talk about threat number 2 as we move along to Wednesday. We'll wake up dry. We'll wake up very mild. Temperatures in the upper 60s to the lower 70s. We're staying dry through all of the morning, and really the whole first half of the day is just fine. It's going to be quite muggy out and really going to be warming up as temperatures will once again make it well into the 80s. Here we go, though, past 3 o'clock. On Futurecast, you can see it start lighting up with these nasty-looking storms from Jasper stretching down to the southeast near Munfordville and the Campbellsville area. That'll continue to work its way to the northwest, and I expect it in Louisville and along all of 65 for that matter by about 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. Then we start to track the line, as you notice, out back to the west near Tell City, Jasper, and Paoli. Another round coming in at 7:30, and this is going to try to form a line, try to get organized, which we do not like to see organization with these storms. So if we saw a tornado, I would say it's going to be during this time period. That continues to push off down to the south on the Kentucky side of the river from Litchfield up to Bardstown, stretching on down south by 9 o'clock tomorrow evening before it starts to fizzle out, and we'll probably just be dealing with some lighter sprinkles and dreary conditions. For tomorrow's event, really just more of the same, but what we're dealing with for tomorrow is that all of Kentuckiana is in that risk level 3 of 5 category. And I have to tell you, I would not be surprised if we were upgraded to a risk level 4. Again, it only goes up to 5. A 4 is what is the risk level that we had on April 2nd. If you remember that severe weather outbreak that we had multiple tornadoes across the area that did quite a bit of damage. This, unfortunately, is looking fairly similar to what we saw. Once again, want to go over the threats. This is possible both tonight as well as tomorrow. The main threats: large hail, strong wind. Heavy rain could also lead to an issue, though, because we have several days in a row of seeing heavy rain, short amount of time over relatively the same area. We could be dealing with ponding on the roadway once we look at just how much rain that we expect to get over the next 36 hours or so. Some folks wouldn't be surprised if you actually do see over 3 inches of rain. I'd say that's probably at the very best. Maximum amount of rain would be over 3 inches, but again, that could cause some ponding in the roadway. Another issue here is that, once again, we're dealing with severe weather potential at night when a lot of folks are going to be asleep. And that also causes just really another issue on an already potentially dangerous situation. So what can you do right now? You want to have a way to wake up for a warning. Well, whether that means your cell phone gets your alerts, the WHAS11 weather app is free wherever you get your apps in the App Store. That will send you a warning, as well as NOAA weather radio. If you have one of those NOAA weather radios, make sure it has fresh batteries in it as well, and then make sure you're keeping your cell phone charged in the event that you do lose power. I talked briefly about the safe space. Go ahead, and if you've already established that, that's wonderful, and go ahead and put the first aid kit in there just in case. It's better to just be over-prepared than under-prepared. The most important thing really as well is just to stay up to date with the forecast, which again, if you're watching right now, thank you so much. That's exactly what you folks are doing. Let me go back in the comments and see if there's anything I missed here that I maybe didn't already touch on. along the way. So Misty asked, do we know the time the storms will return? I'd say by 7 o'clock this evening, we'll start to see those storms popping up off to the west of the interstate. So it really just depends on where you live. But from 7 o'clock forward, I would definitely be staying weather aware. And of course, we'll be tracking this from 4, 5, and 6 on WHAS11 and giving you any updates as fast as they come in. Melissa is asking, what time is tomorrow's severe weather? During school time or not? Not necessarily during school time, Melissa. I would say after school events. Wouldn't be surprised to see those canceled. In fact, that's probably a good idea to maybe shut down daycares earlier on in the day. But I think during school time, you're going to be all right. All right, just scrolling through the comments here. And I can even go back on Futurecast and show you guys that if you're just now tuning in. Once again, I'm meteorologist Christina Sanjuan, and we are tracking 2 different rounds of thunderstorms that could potentially become severe. The timing this evening, you can see some of those storms that are going to be isolated in nature. They're just going to start popping up here and there. Not everybody's going to see them, and it's not nearly as widespread as what we're expecting to see on our Wednesday. Hey, good afternoon, Linda. She's joining us from Hillview neighborhood. Hi, Liz, watching from Shelby County. Continuing to scroll on through here, where you asked, where is this? So we are talking about Louisville, Kentucky and the surrounding areas for tonight's potential severe weather event, as well as tomorrow's, which again is going to be more widespread. How's it looking for Shepherdsville? The timing there is going to be quite similar to what we're going to see pass through the Louisville metro. I'd say as we move Futurecast here along, around 8 o'clock, 8, 9 o'clock, with these pop-up storms, it is very hard to forecast exact timing and exact placement because it's just that. It's pop-up thunderstorms, and it's difficult to give you precise details on where exactly they're going to want to set up. But the best I can tell you is that after 7 o'clock this evening, everybody just needs to be staying weather aware and already have that plan in place, as you could see here on Futurecast. Hi, Brenda. She's tuning in from Meade County. We have folks watching from Nelson County near Bardstown. Hi, Alex. What time for Borden, Indiana? That's also going to be quite similar, around 7, 8 o'clock when we start to get those pop-up thunderstorms firing off to the west of the interstate. And let's go ahead and go over Wednesday's threat once again, if you're just tuning on in. Don't let that sunshine and the warmth fool you in the morning. You might even kind of feel the soupy nature in the air. You know, it feels kind of gross, or sounds kind of gross to say, but it will be quite humid, it will be quite warm, and it'll be dry through the first half of the day. So folks going, or kiddos, I'd say, going off to the bus stop, heading to school during those hours, you're going to be okay, as this is a Futurecast of 2 o'clock, and we're still dry as can be, but you notice off to the southwest, that'll be the round that's pushing in after 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 4 o'clock, still don't expect it to arrive to Louisville quite yet, but from Du Bois County to Tell City, Hardinsburg, Litchfield, and Grayson County down to Munfordville, it'll already be in your neighborhood. I saw one of these comments, a few of you tuning in from E-Town, expect it in E-Town by 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and then continuing to push up toward the northeast as the evening continues. We may even see a quick break between those 2 rounds, as I'm trying to pinpoint here on Futurecast. Around 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, a little bit of a break, but notice off to the west that we start to get that line approaching the area, and then it's kind of like a 1-2 punch where we have yet another threat, and this time a more organized threat for tomorrow of seeing these storms become severe. Then you'll all be in the clear by about 2 o'clock in the morning, so heading into very early Thursday. And we'll be able to tell you the all clear as we go along, as the threat continues, not only tonight, but as well as Wednesday night. We'll be able to give the all clear once that severe weather threat is over for you. We'll go through and we tell you that to rest easy. I know a lot of folks, of course, have some anxiety about the severe weather. There's no reason to be scared as long as you have that plan in place and you're making sure that you do have several ways to receive those watches and warnings. That's the most important thing that you can do for right now. Let's do a quick peek at the 7-day forecast here, as temperatures are going to be very warm once again for your Wednesday. And you're going to be just fine through the first half of the day, as those storms are going to start to fire up after 3 o'clock. By Thursday, we will start to dry out, and notice how much cooler we're going to be, especially heading into the later part of the work week there on Friday. 67 degrees. That's actually going to feel quite refreshing. If you ask me, as we've been in the 80s for a couple of days now. Upper 60s, lower 70s going to feel pretty fantastic. Saturday, another chance for some spotty showers, but not going to be a washout. Sunday looking really nice, as we'll be in the middle 70s with sunny skies, even starting the work week. On a warmer note, we'll start to approach 80 degrees for the start of the new work week there on Monday, and then potentially another system arriving on Tuesday, but very low chance of that for the time being. And of course, that is 7 days out. I'm going to continue watching your comments pour in here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Nancy's in Jeffersonville, Indiana. How does it look for you? Again, the timing there going to be quite similar to here in Louisville. Tonight after 7 o'clock, and then you're likely going to be in the clear by about 11 o'clock this evening, but just make sure you're tuning in, of course, and we'll be able to give you that all clear. That's for tonight, and then for Wednesday, it's going to be after 3 o'clock. Tomorrow's going to be kind of a longer lived event for us, as we have the timing from 3 o'clock until about midnight, or very early Thursday morning. Bedford, Indiana. It will be arriving for you folks a little bit earlier than what we'll see here in the city, but still thinking that time frame of around 6, 7 o'clock tonight, just because you are one of our westernmost counties. You'll start to get those pop-up thunderstorms a little bit sooner than the rest of us. Let's go back to radar and we'll take a look at those showers and storms that we had pass through earlier. It's quite quiet out there. If you're looking outside, you're probably seeing some sunshine. Doesn't so much look like it on this camera, but I do know we're having some sun peek out through the clouds behind that system that just brought quite a bit of lightning in some areas, especially off to the west of 65. A little bit of wind and a lot of rain. Let's touch on the impacts here. If you are just tuning in, very important for you to know what we can expect with any of these storms that come through. 70+ mile per hour winds. We're talking tree damage, power lines down, which means you could potentially be facing losing electricity. That's why you want to go ahead and plug in all your devices right now while you still can. Golf ball size hail or larger. Golf ball size is about 1 3/4 of an inch in diameter, I believe, and we could probably see up to about 2 inches in diameter. If you have a car, I'd go ahead and park it in, or if you have a garage, that is, I would go ahead and park your car in the garage, because of course hail could do damage not only to your vehicle, but your home and your property. When we're talking about 2 inches in diameter, that's pretty significant. I wish we weren't talking about tornadoes, but of course it's my job to communicate this to you as effectively as I can. I don't say it to scare you, but just to make sure that you are staying prepared and well informed with the forecast. We could see a strong tornado over EF2, which is very powerful. I'm not saying it's absolutely going to happen, but it is going to be possible with tomorrow's system that's coming through, and that's why you do want to have that severe weather safety plan in place. Gazing at the comments once again. Hopefully I was able to get to a lot of these questions as I was going through the forecast. Just checking in. Stephanie asked, what time do the storms start? Tonight's storms after 7 o'clock, and then for Wednesday, it'll be after 3 o'clock. Oh, thank you so much, Christy, for that information. She said that Bullitt County canceled all afternoon activities today. That's very good information. I wouldn't be surprised if they do the same thing for tomorrow. So during school hours, doing okay, but it's those after-school activities that may be affected, similarly to what we saw earlier on in April. Leah said, so tomorrow is more of the higher tornado risk. Yes, we do still have that risk tonight, so I don't want folks to have their guard down, but tomorrow is a greater risk when it comes to those strong, long-lived tornadoes. Tonight, if we do see a tornado, it would be more of a spin-up. It'd be weaker, relatively speaking, than what we would be facing for our Wednesday. So the risk is still there, yes. But I would say for tornadoes, for strong tornadoes, that risk is higher on Wednesday. Okay. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Very good. Just making sure I'm answering most of the questions here. If I missed anything, I'm going to go back on my Facebook and I'll make sure that I get to your question here. And of course, we have WHAS11 at 4, 5, and 6, and then again for the night team. There's going to be a meteorologist here around the clock. Even as I leave this evening, Colleen will be here, and she's staying here until Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine comes in around 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll be keeping you updated every step of the way, of course. If there's a warning issued, especially a tornado warning, turn on your TV. You can watch us on the app or WHAS 11 Plus, and we'll be tracking it until that threat is completely done. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and we'll have an update on WHAS 11 at 4 o'clock. Until then, stay safe and be well. I'll go ahead and turn on the 7-day forecast, and we will talk to you guys here in just about 2 hours as we're coming up on 2 o'clock on this afternoon. All right, take care.